So about a year ago, I learned a very important lesson that timing and fate can play a hand in rescue. Bethany and I, we went to the dollar store probably about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer. And in the parking lot, Bethany's pulling in. There is a space about to become available. She pulls back, and inadvertently, at the same time, behind us, someone else begins to pull out of their spot. What happens then, you can kind of put together. Both cars collided at a whopping 2 miles an hour. There was very little damage to either car. The Kia, Bethany's car, had a little dent. The other car, which was an SUV, hit just at the right angle that the reflector on that end of the collision point fractured and broke off. Easily repaired with probably crazy glue. But the odd thing was that this was something that was so minor that telephone numbers could have been exchanged with driver information. We could have went about our business and everything would have been fine. However, there were two witnesses who just kind of showed up out of the blue. One lady was in the car area and came over and told the other lady, who was this little old lady, who was probably sweet on any other day except that day, and told her, you know what, I wouldn't pay one dime for that. And the lady then said, well, I'm not. And she then said, you know what, if you need a witness, here's my information. Then another woman came out of the Dollar Tree, actually the Family Dollar, that we were about to go into, and said she saw the whole thing from within the store. In this woman's imagination, we just backed up and just did not care and rammed into her and caused all this damage. We could barely find any damage to this other person's car except for the reflector, which was cracked with pieces on the ground. There was no other damage whatsoever. So little, in fact, it could have been caused by anybody else. It then escalated to where both of these women were egging her on to, call the police, have them see it and make a record of it. And so we wouldn't get away with ripping her off. Anybody who knows Bethany knows that she is not the type of person to rip off anybody, especially elderly people. So both of these women, they, planted their flags near this woman. They were going to defend her from us, to keep us from taking advantage of her for barely any damage. It probably wouldn't cost more than $10 for this woman to go to some car factory place or car store, get a reflector, and repair it herself. So we did wind up waiting for the police, and it took about 45 minutes for the police to come. When the woman got there, she started asking us questions. She started telling us, you know what? There's so little damage. As long as the cars are, that as long as the cars are drivable and, perfectly safe, we could have just exchanged information and left. But because of these two women interfering in this whole thing probably took us about an hour and a half. So from that time to going into the store, getting what we needed, coming out, and then coming back, it didn't have to happen. You know, it could have just been like maybe 10 minutes, people saying they're sorry, and discovering that there was no need for a claim. So on our way home, we're talking about this and just how crazy this was. Why do people do that? I kind of think it was because of Bethany, not because of what she did, but Bethany is not black. So they just assumed that she was going to do her best to rob this woman blind. None of it came to court. So we're just kind of floored at all this, that this happened to us. We're very angry, and we're just really disappointed that this had happened. So we pulled into the driveway, into the alley, and then Bethany parks the car. We get everything out of the car, and I notice there's this little cat. And she was walking funny. And I'm thinking, oh God, is she okay? And I'm looking at her, and Bethany's like, what's wrong? And it's like, there's a cat over there. She's like, where? It's like down the alley right there. So I'm really good at seeing small, tiny, little furry objects in the distance, especially when they're really cute. And she was cute. And she was a really sweet girl. And I go off and I cross the alley to get a closer look to her, and I start calling her. And Bethany's behind me saying, baby, be careful. Just be careful. I go over, and this beautiful little tabby girl is limping, but she's limping oddly. Her leg had been snapped in half. So she was very friendly, but she was very cautious at first. She didn't know if she could trust us. She didn't know if she could trust me. And then I realized I had met her before. A few months previous to that, this little stray had come up to me, literally just came up to me and started meowing. I didn't think of her as a stray. I thought that she was just somebody's house cat that they let out, which happens over here all the time. They let their cats out, and then in the morning let them back in. And I figured that's what was happening. And at that time, I used to carry cat food around, which I'm probably going to start doing again in the wintertime now. So I made sure that she got some food, and she seemed very, very happy with the fact that I was friendly and was not trying to hurt her. And I let her, go about her business, eating her food. I was able to pet her, and she was a really sweet girl. So as the months went on, I actually thought about her. Where was she? How was she doing? And I found out she was not doing very well. We were able to catch her. There was a police car that was there. They were checking us out, seeing what we were doing. They actually helped blocked the street to keep cars from coming by just in case she took off so she wouldn't get hit. We were able to get her, brought her into the house. Bethany took some pictures. She sent them off to Catnap from the Heart. And this was just horrible. And I think this was, at that time we probably still do, we had coyotes in the area, and she probably survived a coyote attack. The leg was snapped, it was broken, and bone was hanging out of the skin, and it was dead. From the break to the paw, she had no sensation. We were able to keep her for a while. We kept her as close to comfortable as we could without any pain meds. Bethany made arrangements for her to go to Catnap. They saw her and they made an appointment for her to go into surgery as well as being spayed. Suffice it to say, she turned into a catnap cat. And after probably about 2 months, Bethany and I went to Catnap to get some other fosters fixed, as well as, just to see what, if any of our other cats had been adopted. And she was still there. But there was this lady and her daughter who were talking about her. They kept coming back to her. The little girl was taken with her. The mother kept asking questions about her. I'm pretty sure Bethany talked to her about her personality and how sweet she was. We left, and Bethany had really good feeling about this. And we came to find out that they had actually put a hold on her. And they adopted her. So this really sweet, awesome cat that had a really, really bad run. No telling how long she had had that injury. The injury was dead. There was no blood. The skin down was just like parchment. Still flexible, wasn't going to come off by itself. And she had to have the surgery. Now, I told Bethany, if it hadn't been for what happened, if it hadn't been for the accident, if it hadn't been for the two women getting involved and making us wait for the police, we would have missed her. We would have come home and she would have suffered. She probably would have gotten some kind of blood poisoning, and we wouldn't have been able to help her. And a lot of times what I notice is that perchance it's how we seem to go and just find these animals at certain times. It's happened to CACC where we were dropping off, I believe, a cat, or picking up a cat, and this cute wired-haired little dog was being surrendered by this lady because she was moving into a place where she couldn't have dogs, and she had given the dog to her family, and she was not confident that the family was taking care of the dog. And Bethany is like looking at me, and I was like, okay. And she pretty much told them, give us a little bit of time. We're coming back for that dog. As we are getting into the car and driving off, Bethany gets a message from where we were fostering dogs for a time. And guess who it was about? Yeah, there's a lot of timing and chance meetings that happen. I wish more of that happened with people in the city who were willing to just open up their homes. Really good things can happen. So this little guy that we then got, super dog, really sweet. Got adopted by somebody who wasn't able to fit his needs, and we had to go back and get him. It was not a happy day, but he was very happy to see us. He then got adopted by a family who already had a dog. They wanted a companion, and it was a little touch and go there for a little bit, but he knew how to handle it, and he won this dog over. Yeah, it's 2 points, two chances that we gave to animals who probably wouldn't have made it. I'm glad that we could have been there for them. I wish more people would do that. There wouldn't be such a problem with animal welfare in the city if people would just do that. Take care, guys.